The road to success is often one filled with adversity that will test your resilience. Behind a successful person is a team of individuals that help that person get to where they are today. It's been widely emphasized to have a team around you for support, and Eddie Murphy can be added to the list of superstars who have leveled up in the industry and brought his entire team with him to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Chris Rock got his first film role in Beverly Hills Cop 2 thanks to Eddie Murphy. And also, Eddie had originally planned on playing the role of Reggie Warrington in The Nutty Professor before he decided to give the role to a young, up-and-coming Dave Chappelle. Now, Eddie hasn't only given opportunities to up-and-coming comedians, but his family as well. Charlie Murphy, Uncle Ray, Ray Murphy Jr., and more were a part of Eddie Murphy's entourage coming up. In addition to Eddie's family, some of his close friends, including Clint Smith, would be a part of the ride. Smith is best known for his role as Sweets the Barber from Coming to America. Eddie and Arsenio portrayed Clarence, Saul, and Morris, but Eddie Murphy's old childhood friend Clint Smith was the third actor in the memorable barbershop scenes. Clint and Eddie have a relationship that goes back decades, and this is just another example of Eddie looking out for those who were close to him. Here's what happened to Clint Smith, Eddie Murphy's childhood friend, and Sweets the Barber from Coming to America. Clint Smith is a longtime friend of Murphy who he met in the 7th grade at Roosevelt Junior High School in New York City in the 1970s. The two remained friends through the fame and fortune which can be considered a rarity in Hollywood. We met in the 7th grade. We had just graduated to junior high school, and it was the first day of gym. And I jumped on his head and he said, "Hey man," and I said, "Shut up man, just shut up." He said, "I like this guy," and we've been best friends ever since. We're still best friends. In a 2019 Ringer interview, former Saturday Night Live writer Barry Blaustein, who would also go on to write the scripts for Coming to America, Boomerang, and the Nutty Professor films, said he recalled often seeing Eddie and Clint hanging around the set and the writer's room of SNL. So much so that Clint himself would soon find himself appearing in sketches as an extra. But his first major appearance as an actor would come in the form of a sketch called Focus on Film, alongside his pal Murphy. The sketch depicts Murphy as Raheem Abdul-Mohammed and his homophobic reaction to a film entitled Making Love Together, as well as Murphy catching himself saying sexually ambiguous things about what he and Clint can do together. While Clint doesn't deliver any actual lines, fans found his facial expressions and reactions to Murphy amusing. Now, the same year he made his SNL debut, Smith appeared in the film 48 Hours, which would be Eddie Murphy's first film. Smith also had a small role in Airplane 2, the sequel, before reuniting with Murphy for Trading Places the following year. Between 1982 and 1984, Smith appeared in 13 episodes of Saturday Night Live. According to IMDb, all were uncredited. Smith's next role was his most recognizable role as Sweets the Barber in Coming to America. The barbershop is an inhabitant by its lively barbers and customers, including Murphy's Clarence, the owner of the barbershop, and the Jewish customer Saul. Playing off Murphy is Arsenio as Morris the Barber. In the barbershop, the gentlemen discuss anything and everything from sports to politics and relationships. Clarence, being the most vocal of the group, often is called out by fellow barber Sweets, who's not portrayed by neither Murphy or Hall, but Murphy's longtime friend Clint, who also delivers some of the film's most hilarious lines, including, "Man, you lying, you ain't never met no Martin Luther King," and "That boy's good." According to frequent Eddie Murphy collaborator David Sheffield, it was Murphy's idea to portray multiple characters in the barbershop scenes. Murphy and Smith used to do sketches called Clinton and Edmund that Sheffield and Blaustein witnessed. They were neighborhood barbers, but they were also pimps and showbiz performers. But they talked like these guys for hours. Blaustein added that when it came time to write the barbershop scenes, it was easy to reference. After Coming to America, Smith was in a 1989 TV special, What's Alan Watching? The special was written by Coming to America writers Barry Blaustein and David Sheffield and featured Murphy in dual roles. He would play a protester in James Brown. Aside from acting, Smith also had his hand behind the scenes in many Eddie Murphy productions. He was a producer on Uptown Comedy Express, which was a 1987 HBO special that featured stand-up comedy from a young Chris Rock, Arsenio Hall, Robert Townsend, and Marsha Warfield. The stand-up sets were split up by sketches that featured some more of Murphy's friends. Jasmine Guy, Magic Johnson, and Gladys Knight made cameos. Now in 1991, Eddie Murphy created and executive produced the sitcom The Royal Family, starring Redd Foxx and Della Reese. Smith was hired as a story editor for the first season and co-wrote 2 episodes of the series. Unfortunately, the sitcom was short-lived due to the sudden death of Redd Foxx less than a month after the series debuted in October of 1991. The series continued without Foxx by adding Jackie Harry to the cast. However, the show failed to capture ratings as high when Foxx was alive. The show was canceled after 15 episodes, leaving 2 unaired. And in 1993, Smith returned to the screen for another small role in The Firm, starring Tom Cruise. Continuing his behind-the-scenes work, Smith went on to be a major player behind the scenes for Eddie Murphy Productions, becoming vice president of Eddie Murphy Television, overseeing projects like a television pilot for Coming to America series starring Tommy Davidson, written by Ken Hetch. Years later, many people involved in the project, including Smith himself, spoke out about why they felt the show didn't succeed. Many signs pointed to writer Hetch, who, according to Davidson, had a dictatorship style of working. Davidson consistently butted heads with him as well as Smith. Oh, me and Ken bumped heads all the effing time. I thought he was an asshole. His script was horrible. We were like, that shit ain't funny. But he had some credits. The studio wanted him, and me and my partner were rookies. Tommy also saved it. If we had a good time slot and the studio gave us a chance, that show would have been a hit. In an unaired Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories, Charlie hilariously chronicles the exploits of Eddie's friend that had a bit of Napoleon complex while sober but became 50 times worse with alcohol. Charlie decides to change the name for the story and uses the pseudonym Daryl. Charlie describes how Daryl would occasionally get drunk and cuss people out in public, anybody from Eddie to Charlie Murphy himself. Daryl would get so out of control that it even resulted in a physical altercation between the two. It was later confirmed by Smith himself the story was about him. That's me. And look, it's not a true story. Charlie embellished it a lot. And me and Charlie are cool again. So I don't want to go into what really happened because it was a comedy routine. But at first, I was pissed off when I heard it, because it didn't happen like that. But there's a lot of truth to it. It's just not totally true. But I love Charlie. That's my brother, After the cancellation of the Royal Family, it appears that Smith had retired from show business altogether. According to IMDb, he executive produced a few projects in the 2000s, but aside from 1993's The Firm, his next project will be the upcoming sequel, Coming to America 2, reprising his role as Sweets. It's unclear why Smith stopped appearing in small roles in Eddie Murphy's films, but it looks like he preferred having a role behind the scenes instead. Eddie Murphy looked out for one of his childhood friends and kept him employed, which is something many of us hope to do.